Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. My name is Anya Westenberg, and my pronouns are she, her, and they, them. I have been with the congregation since I was very small, and I will be your service coordinator today. Please silence your phones if you have not done so already, and then let's settle in for our time together today. You may arrive this morning tired and weary, or upbeat and buoyant. You may arrive this morning unsure and unsteady. However you're feeling this morning, there is a place for you here, and together we will make this morning a celebration of community, support, friendship, kindness, and inspiration. You're invited to laugh and cry and share and be as silent as you need to be. As we gather here this morning, we respectfully acknowledge that our physical building is on the traditional land of the Pugwasit people. Now let's take a moment to greet one another. For those of us here in the room, let's turn to the camera and wave to those online, then turn to those around us. As for today's announcements, UUCD Men Conversing Over Coffee meets on the second Wednesday of each month at 10 a.m. in the lower level of the Fellowship Hall, and in July they will be meeting on Wednesday, July 9th. On Saturday, July 12th, the board retreat will begin at 10 a.m. in the Fellowship Hall, lower level, and on Sunday, July 13th, Joe Gelati, Peter Horton, and Alex Mackay, will lead the service on spirituality. These three long-term UUCD members will offer different perspectives on the aspects of spirituality.
The song is actually not by Pete Seeger, but it's about him. It's by Paul Coughlin. And the last line repeats, and you will recognize the melody. I dreamed I heard Pete Seeger sing when he was 93. Said I, but Pete, you lost your voice. It never died, said he. Last line repeat. It never died, said he.
You used it up at concert hall and all those picket lines. Says Pete, I lost my vocal cords. My voice is doing fine. My voice is doing fine.
You're hired.
Though some would say my voice has died, it's never been as strong as when it comes back amplified by those who sing along.
By those who sing along. For I am like the shanty man who stands before the gale and helps us pull together so we all can raise the sail. We all can raise the sail. And just before my dream was o'er, he left me with these words.
When what you sing comes from the
Wisconsin down to Texas, California to Wall Street. When folks sing out for justice, then you'll hear the voice of Pete. You'll hear the voice of Pete. I dreamed I heard Pete Seeger sing
When he was 93,
when he was 93.
said I but Pete, you lost your voice.
You lost your
It never died.
It never died, said he. It never died, said he.
Would you like the chalice, Anya?
We make this time and this place holy simply by being together with each other. And we begin by lighting the flaming chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. Please join me in reciting the words to our chalice lighting affirmation. Love is the spirit
Of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another, and celebrate life.
And now, And now, please join me in the children's affirmation. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We care for the earth and each other.
Okay, this next song is by Rick Nestler, who spent years as first mate on the Clearwater. And it tells the story of the Hudson River, which was near and dear to Pete's heart, and you'll hear more about that later. Once the sage told the story of a lad, great spirit blessed, and the people followed the legend from the great waters in the west. And they stopped where they found that fishing was good, the earth it was fertile, game ran in the wood, and now I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways. I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways.
I'm going off a little bit here. We're going to try that chorus again, see if we can get everybody to sing it with us.
I think it's in your service.
So I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways.
Let's try that.
I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways. That channels Pete a little bit more.
Did I say why is the river that flows both ways?
Yes.
All right. So an estuary is a river that sometimes flows south and sometimes flows north, and the Hudson is an estuary. Now you know.
When the tide comes in, it flows up and it becomes salty. And when the tide goes out, it is just fresh water. So it goes back and forth. It flows both ways.
Okay, so that chorus, ready? Now I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways. Oh yes, I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways. First came the trappers, next came the traders, their own fortunes for to find, and the valley treated them kindly, so the farmers they followed close behind. Then the sloop sailed well laden round a battery, with flour from Yonkers, furs from Albany.
And I can be happy. And
I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways.
Again.
I could be happy just spending my
shore, while musicians sing its praises, keep alive the river's lore. With the sunset in golden o'er the Palisades, afternoon ends and the daylight fades. Come
Oh
on,
yes, I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways.
one more time.
I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways. Maybe it's the moonshine,
Maybe it's the starlight, reflected
in Haverstraw Bay.
maybe it's the fog that
Rolls off the highlands at the break of a brand new day. An apple cider and pumpkins, strawberries and corn make the people of the river glad they were born.
I could be happy.
I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways.
I could be happy.
I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways.
Last time.
One more. I could be happy just spending my days on the river that flows both ways.
I saw many of you singing. Thank you.
I heard many of you singing. All right, so there will be some slides to accompany this little story called Sailing Down. I will wait for a moment. Let Keith catch up with me. There, okay. Sailing down, from the Adirondack Mountains to the Howder. I should actually say this is by Jeff Corfield. It was written in 1998. He was an Australian who spent some time on the sloop Clearwater and went home and wrote this song. Sailing down from the Adirondack Mountains to the heart of New York town, I can see the sloop Clearwater with her mainsail running free, cleaning up the Hudson River, showing how it ought to be. Well, the glistening Hudson River was a beauty to behold, a river full of plenty for those settlers of old. And the little wooden packet sloops, their mighty sails unfurled, plied along the Hudson River, taking produce to the world. Then the freighters and the barges jammed the Hudson River wide, and the power plants and factories dumped their poisons on the tide. But along the mighty Hudson, Pete Seeger had a dream, to build a sloop and sail her till we made the river clean. 56 years now, Clearwater's been sailing up and down, teaching kids about their river, advocating in the towns. Now the people of the Hudson celebrate Pete Seeger's dream, to sail on a golden river that was once a dirty stream. And now we're going to sing This Little Light of Mine. This one you know in your sleep. Indeed.
I'm good.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the world. All around the world. I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world. I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Okay, and we didn't actually have children coming around to collect food donations, so if you have them, I think leave them on the shelf by the kitchen, and we will make sure they get to where they're going. Time for shared milestone.
Being known and knowing others deeply in community is transformative. Each week, we practice bringing our full selves into this space by sharing the joys and sorrows of our lives. For those of you who are participating online, I invite you to place an X in the chat if you'd like to represent your silent joys and sorrows. For those of you in the room here who wish to share silently, please come forward to place a stone in the water where its ripples can be witnessed without anything having to be spoken.
One that Pete Seeger wrote later in his life about the joy and the power of lifelong friendship.
And the chorus is in your order of service, so please read it and sing along. You might have gotten already the sense that we like you to sing along, so we've made it easy for you. We've given you the words.
And it's a song that fits. It's called Wonderful Friends,
Exactly.
and it seems to fit very well with this community.
Oh, when I
Think of the ways that I've grown. I know I couldn't have made it alone. I owe a lot to the sharing, caring, daring, wonderful friends that I've known. I owe a lot to the sharing, caring, daring, wonderful friends that I've known.
Here we are all in one place, all gathered together. We've helped each other down this road in all kinds of weather. We have no need for pots of gold, for friends are a treasure. So join hands and sing it again.
This is where you come in.
Oh, when I think of the ways that I've grown, I know I couldn't have made it alone. I owe a lot to the sharing, caring, daring, wonderful friends that I've known. I owe a lot to the sharing, caring, daring, wonderful friends that I've known. Many years ago when I was feeling discouraged, I found that singing with my friend gave me with so much courage. It's a rockin', roughy road we're on, so when we get worried, we'll join hands and sing it again. Oh, when I think of the ways that I've grown, I know I couldn't have made it alone. I owe a lot to the sharing, caring, daring, wonderful friends that I've known. I owe a lot to the sharing, caring, daring, wonderful friends that I've known.
And now it's time for the offering. Oh, and food collection. Okay, there is a food collection. Okay. All right.
When we give our time and energy to the work of this congregation, and when we donate to its financial support, we are giving gifts to each other. Together, we also take up a food collection for the Dorothy Day Hospitality House. So please hold up your donations and I suppose I will get them. And our greeters will take up the collection of financial gifts for the congregation. If you prefer, you may mail a check to UUCD at 24 Clapboard Ridge Road in Danbury, or scan the QR code.
To everything turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap.
enter and the time to sow, a time of love, a time of hate, a time of peace. I swear it's not too late. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven.
I might mention that Pete's wife Toshi also wrote a version for children, which included a time for dirt, a time for soap. And it went on from there.
It was a great version.
Pete Seeger was born on May 3rd, 1919 in New York City. He was the youngest of three sons born to Charles Seeger, a musicologist, and Constance Seeger, a classical violinist. Many of his vivid early memories were of exploring the woods and fields around his grandparents' farmhouse in Paterson, New York. In Pete's words, "My mother had hopes that one of her children would play the violin. She bought miniature fiddles for my two older brothers. They rebelled. When I came along, my father said, 'Oh, let Peter enjoy himself.' But she left musical instruments all around the house. I remember having fun at age 4 or 5, making a racket on auto harp, penny whistle, marimba, a push-pull accordion, a piano, a pump organ, all by ear. When Pete was 2, his parents picked up all 3 boys and loaded their Model T Ford for a trip into the Appalachian Mountains, with the goal of introducing the natives to the world of classical music. The senior Seegers soon realized they had much more to learn than they had to teach. 35 years later, Pete and his wife Toshi loaded up their 3 children for a year-long musical trip around the world, during which they lived among and learned from cultures from Indonesia to West Africa to India. But to get back to Pete's childhood for a moment, he was 9 when his parents' marriage broke up. A few years later, his father remarried Ruth Crawford Seeger, who wrote the book American Folk Songs for Children. Charles's second marriage produced 3 half-siblings for Pete, Mike, Peggy, and Penny, who all became musicians. After boarding school and prep school, Pete arrived at Harvard University in 1937 with the goal of becoming a journalist. He dropped out after just a year. Soon after that, he met Woody Guthrie, who invited him to hitchhike and ride freight trains. Yeah, quite different from Harvard. Crisscrossing this country and absorbing the rich tapestry of musical traditions of the common folk. During the Spanish Civil War, in the late 1930s, Pete was a fervent supporter of the Republican forces fighting against the fascism of Francisco Franco. In 1943, he recorded an album called Songs of the Lincoln Battalion, celebrating the U.S. volunteers that fought against Franco, and included the songs There's a Valley in Spain called Jarama and Viva la Quince Brigada. Viva la Quince Brigada, rumba la rumba la rumba la. Viva la Quince Brigada, rumba la rumba la rumba la. Que sea cubierto de gloria, ay Manuela, ay Manuela. Que sea cubierto de gloria, ay Manuela, ay Manuela.
In 1948, Pete wrote the first version of his now classic How to Play the Five-String Banjo. I'm using it now to teach myself. A book many banjo players credit with starting them off on the instrument. Inspired by Woody Guthrie, whose guitar was labeled, "This Machine Kills Fascists," Pete's banjo was emblazoned with the now famous motto, "This machine surrounds hate and forces it to surrender."
In 1949, Pete was scheduled to sing at a concert featuring Paul Robeson just north of Peekskill, benefiting the Civil Rights Congress. The concert by Robeson, who was known for his strong pro-trade union stance, civil rights activism, communist affiliations, and anti-colonialism, prompted riots and attacks, with the local police doing little to intervene when concertgoers were beaten with bats and rocks. The concert was postponed by a week, and although the musicians performed without incident, They and the concert goers were forced to run a gauntlet miles long of protesters who threw rocks through the windshields of the cars and buses. When a rock was thrown into the car that Pete was in with Woody Guthrie, Lee Hayes, Pete's wife Toshi, and their infant children, Pete saved it and used it to build the chimney of his cabin as a reminder of the Peekskill riots.
In the late 1940s, Pete sang with a group known as the Almanac Singers with Woody Guthrie, Bess Lomax, and Lee Hayes. In 1950, Pete and Lee, along with Ronnie Gilbert and Fred Hellerman, reconstituted the Almanacs as the Weavers, named after a play about a workers' strike. They did benefits for strikers at which they sang songs such as Talking Union, about the struggles for unionization of industrial workers, such as miners and automobile workers, carrying on the folk tradition of transforming existing music to suit the current situation. Pete sang this song. You may recognize the tune.
I hope.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. But what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong.
Solidarity forever.
Solidarity forever.
Again.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. They have taken untold millions that they never toiled to earn. But without our brain and muscle, not a single wheel can turn. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong.
Solidarity forever.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong.
One of the things about Pete's songs is that you'll find that they still are very, very relevant today.
Oh my God.
Timeless. Wish they weren't, but they are.
Indeed. In 1955, Pete was subpoenaed to testify before the House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC. He said, and I quote, "I am not going to answer any questions as to my association, my philosophical or religious beliefs, or my political beliefs, or how I voted in any election or any of these private affairs. I think these are very improper questions for any American to be asked, especially under such compulsion as this."
For that position, Pete became part of the Hollywood blacklist, which prevented him from performing in public venues, such as concert halls, on television and radio, and from making albums. So instead, he worked on gigs as a music teacher in schools and summer camps and traveled the college circuit as a performer. Although the blacklist was intended to restrict the influence of its members, Pete's work made him far more influential as he spent decades working with children who grew up singing his music.
From the late 1950s on, Pete accompanied himself on his distinctive custom-made triangular-hulled 12-string guitar, an instrument that has been associated with Hootie Ledbetter, known as Leadbelly, who wrote some of the first songs I learned to play on the guitar. That guitar, and this one, was made by our good friend Bruce Taylor, who was a member of the Walkabout Clearwater Chorus, and also Pete's luthier, who had been making Pete's guitars for years.
A few years ago, Paul and I took a civil rights journey to the Deep South. At our visit to the Rosa Parks Museum, we learned about her participation in the Highlander Folk School in Tennessee, where she and many others before and after her learned how to implement nonviolent civil disobedience. It was only a few months after her visit to the Highlander that she refused to give up her seat on that Montgomery bus. On the wall, we saw a photo of Rosa Parks with Martin Luther King Jr. and Pete, who frequented Highlander to learn and teach civil rights songs such as We Shall Overcome, which has become an anthem of civil rights movements around the world.
Pete continued his support of civil and labor rights, racial equality, international understanding, and anti-militarism, and he continued to believe that songs could help people achieve these goals. In 1967, The Smothers Brothers worked to get Pete Seeger on their show. Television networks had blacklisted Pete for 17 years from broadcast TV shows because of his political views. The Smothers Brothers convinced CBS to allow Pete to appear on their show, and he appeared on the premiere episode of the second season in September 10th, 1967.
Among the songs he played, one of them, Waist Deep in the Big Muddy, recounts a story about a World War II captain back in 1942 leading his men. He takes his men deeper and deeper into the big muddy, as the big fool tells them to push on until the captain gets sucked into the mud. Now, CBS censors had asked Pete to omit the last verse of the song, which connected the story to the Vietnam War. Pete, noting that the last verse was the whole point of the song, refused to do so and sang the entire song during taping. So, CBS cut the song from the broadcast.
Following the cut of that song, Tom Smothers made sure that the story of the censorship appeared in the media. Because of the bad press, and probably because the Vietnam War had become even more unpopular in recent months, the Smothers Brothers were allowed to invite Pete back later in the season, where he again sang Waist Deep in the Big Muddy. This time it was broadcast. 3 days following the broadcast, Walter Cronkite, known as one of the most respected people in America, closed his February 27, 1968 broadcast with what would become the famous editorial commentary about the Vietnam War. Here's another example of a song you might know from Pete's anti-war music.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone?
Children have picked them, everyone.
When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn?
Where have all the children gone?
Where have all the children gone? Long time passing. Where have all the children gone? Long time ago. Where have all the children gone?
Gone to soldiers, everyone.
When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn?
Where have all the soldiers gone?
Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the soldiers gone?
Gone to graveyards, everyone.
When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn?
Where have all the graveyards gone?
Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time passing. Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time ago. Where have all the graveyards gone?
Gone to flowers, everyone.
When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn?
When will we ever learn?
When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn?
So Pete remained an activist throughout his life, all 94 years of it. For 50 of those years, he and his wife Toshi produced a festival along the banks of the Hudson called the Great Hudson River Revival, where thousands came each Father's Day weekend to celebrate the river, enjoy music and dance from all over the world, and learn about living sustainably on the earth. I might mention that we all met through the Walkabout Clearwater Chorus, who performs at this festival every year. The festival is called Clearwater for short. It thrived for decades, and there's now a bouncing back of a smaller version post-pandemic. Some folks who came to the earliest ones are now bringing their grandchildren. So I shared a little bit of the story earlier, so I'm going to go right to a song that was written not by Pete, but by Pat Humphries about the Clearwater. Water, carry me down.
This is in your order of service.
Rock me in your arms. Sail me on by the river towns. Take me with the wind. Guided by the moon. Sing to me a sweet, clear water tune. She lives Pete Seeger's dream each time she sails, inspiring folks with song, enchanting them with tales. Ancient water touches all our lives. Keep our water sacred, we will all survive.
Water, carry me down.
Water, carry me down. Rock me in your arms. Sail me on by the river towns. Take me with the wind. Guided by the moon. Sing to me a sweet, clear water tune. Sing to me your sweet, clear water tune. Pete was not one to go quietly into the sunset. He spoke out against the Deepwater oil spill, joined protesters 60 years younger than he was at Occupy Wall Street, and sang for Farm Aid with Willie Nelson. At 89, he recorded an album with members of Walkabout Clearwater, which won a Grammy. That same year, in January 2009, there he was on the National Mall, alongside Bruce Springsteen and Pete's grandson, Tao Rodriguez Seeger. He was clad in his trademark flannel shirt and woolen cap, strumming his banjo and leading tens of thousands in singing This Land Is Your Land from Barack and Michelle Obama on the day before Obama's inauguration. When the concert was over, he forego the ball that took place, slung his banjo over his shoulder and headed home to Beacon, New York. He had a class of local 4th and 5th graders waiting to write songs with him. Who needs an inaugural ball? Incidentally, the album that resulted from that collaboration, Tomorrow's Children, also won a Grammy. Pete passed away in January of 2014 at the age of 94, just 6 months after his beloved wife, Toshi, passed away. And we were calling this meditation. So if you feel like meditating, please do so.
One blue sky above us,
This is in your order of service.
one ocean lapping all our shore, one earth so green and round. Who could ask for more? And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show my rainbow rays. It's too soon to die.
One blue sky above us.
One
Well, thank you so much, Nancy and Paul and Sandy, for such beautiful music and teaching us all a little bit something or a lot something like me. Thank you. We all learned a bit. Please join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame,
But not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together
again.
Earlier, we spoke about the Peekskill riots in 1949. At the concert, there was word of snipers in the hills. Actually, the week before, as they had snipers, they were talking about it and really worried about it. And after the riots of the previous week, the performers were concerned about inciting violence with overtly anti-fascist songs. But Pete was Pete, and he was Pete, and he would not miss an opportunity to send a message. So he shared this song as a subtle but firm anti-fascist message, a song that is as relevant today as it was then. Please join us for the closing hymn, If I Had a Hammer.
I think these are also in order of service if you don't know it.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out love and dreams, my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
If I had a bell,
I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring out love and dreams, my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
if I had a song,
If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing out love and dreams, my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
now I got a hammer,
Now I got a hammer,
and I got a bell,
and I got a bell,
and I got a song to sing.
and I got a song to sing all over this land.
It's a hammer of justice. It's the bell of freedom.
It's the bell of freedom,
It's a song about love.
song about love and dreams, my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
It's a hammer of justice.
It's the hammer of
It's
justice,
the bell of freedom.
it's the bell of freedom, it's the song about love and dreams, my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
Are
So,
we skipping that?
yeah, no, we're gonna go back to it. Closing reading, post, okay, whatever. So, for our, I'm gonna do the closing reading and then we're gonna do the postlude, just flip things around a little here. For our closing reading, I would like to share one more quote from Pete that expresses how he wanted to engage everyone in music, and he said, "Nowadays, I try and persuade choruses that they should try and find notes which audiences can sing with them. Bach did it, why can't we?" So, you all know the postlude. I hope you'll sing along with us.
You actually may not all
Oh,
know the
oh,
postlude
oh,
because
no,
there's some
ver-
verses that you might not know. So you might know a bunch of the postlude, which is "This Land Is Your Land,"
Right.
which was not written by Pete, although sung by Pete, but it was written by his mentor Woody Guthrie. But you may have heard the popular verses that were in your textbooks as kids.
Macmillan, fifth grade. yeah.
Right, and they put these words into your textbooks to defang the song that Woody wrote. It was pretty pointed when he wrote it, and we're going to be singing the verses you know, but we're going to be singing the verses you might not have heard, which talk about whether this land is really for you and me. And so if you're not familiar with those words, they are in your service, your order of service, and I would recommend you take them home with you, because many people don't know this,
And they
the real
really
words of this song.
reflect the sentiments of traveling all around the country.
Especially at
But
the
I'm
time
gonna
of Woody
stand.
Guthrie. Oh, wait, we're standing?
Well, we got others standing.
Right. So key of B, huh? B,
Yeah?
yeah. B, that's what it said.
That's what it says.
That's what it said.
And you should have them in your order, too, yeah.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me.
It's I one talking.
As I was born,
That river highway.
that river the highway,
I saw
I saw above,
that endless skyway.
that endless sky.
I saw the lonely. still relevant.
Thank you. I think you guys should read this. What the people are saying in the chat. Oh, that's so nice. Thanks, Nancy.
Yeah?